The movie begins with Moana exploring around a deep forest in an island. She carries her pig and chicken pet along on this journey, until they got to the top of the mountain in the island. She brings out a horn and blows it hoping to discover more people and villages there, but is sad as she got no response. She falls down from the mountain by accident and surprisingly finds a kind of artifact on the floor. She sees the drawing of a village tribe on the artifact, which made her so excited and immediately takes it to return back to her village. In her village, not just her parents are proud of her, but her entire village tell tales of Moana as a legendary wayfinder, who joined forces with Maui to save their island from destruction. Moana returns back to her village and reunites with her father, who asks if she has found something. She excitedly brings out the artifact and tells him that the artifact is a proof that there are truly other villagers out there, and believes them to be on that island she went to. Her little sister called Simi rushes to hug her big sister. To Simia, it was as if Moana was gone forever, although it has been only 3 days Moana was gone, which shows how she really missed her big sister so much. Moana takes her little sister to a cave which she reveals as the place of their ancestors, a place where she learned that their people are voyagers. She tells Simi about one of their greatest ancestor called Tautai Vesa, a very great navigator. Before Maui stole Tifiti's heart, Tautai Vesa wanted to connect their island to all the people of the entire nation, because by uniting everyone together, they can achieve the impossible. Now since she's a wayfinder like Tautai Vesa, Moana believes it to be her job to continue where he started, and the artifact found on the island is her first clue. Somewhere else in the ocean, we see the demigod Maui in the form of a bird. He finds a cave, where he encounters a witch, named Matangi. She works for the god Nalo, who has a bitter grudge against Maui and all humans. Maui wants to find the lost island of Motu Fetu, which was sent underwater by Nalo, but when Matangi suggests that he will need Moana's help, Maui says that he is keeping her out of this for her safety. Matangi then traps Maui in the cave. Later that evening, a very big feast is held for Moana's sake, where the village people beat their drums and dance. Her father then comes out and asks Moana to accept the title which was formerly given to the former and greatest wayfinder in their village, and not just that, he also wants Moana to become the next successor as the chief of the village. Moana happily accepted this title of being the Tau Ti, and just as some rituals are done to make her one, a strange lightning suddenly comes down from the sky and shows Moana a version of their ancestor, Tautai Vesa. He and his crew went on a journey to find Motu Fetu, until they were brought down by a powerful storm placed by Nalo. Moana later finds herself back in the village, but sees no one. Their great wayfinder ancestor appears to her and reveals that she's in the future. He lets her know that the future is going to be isolated like this if she doesn't unite the villagers from other island together. He advised that the only way for her to stop this bad future from coming to pass is to find an island called Motu Fetu. He placed a fire in the sky that will guide her and help her reach it. Moana wakes up and tells everyone what she saw. She immediately does some research about this island in some kind of ancient texts, and finds out that Motu Fetu is an ancient island where the channels of the ocean once came together, connecting the people of the entire sea together, but one day, it was lost and cursed by a power-hungry god named Nalo, who believed he will be stronger by separating the people of the ocean to weaken them and to put an end to their story. Their ancestors believed that reaching Motu Fetu would break Nalo's curse, restoring the channels. It's the only way to bring their people together again. Just during her research, she hears noises from the villagers, and as she goes outside, she sees a fire in the sky and figures out that their ancestors wants her to follow it, which will lead her to Motu Fetu. Moana family are not in support of her leaving for this quest, because there are chances that they might never see her again. Moana sits alone thinking if she should really go. The spirit of her grandmother visits her and tells her she can't see where her story leads, but they can never stop choosing who they are. Moana immediately gathers the villagers and tells them of her decision of finding the island to reconnect the people of the entire ocean and return home. Just as Moana prepares for this journey, her mom tells her that she is really going to need a crew to assist her. Listening to her mother's advice, Moana recruits a craft woman called Loto, and a grumpy elderly farmer, Kele. She wishes to find Maui, because she's going to need a muscle to protect them on this quest. A big strong guy called Moni suddenly gets her attention, and she decides to add him to the crew to his excitement. Her little sister Simia is sad and worried that Moana might never come back, and really want to go with her. Moana takes Simia to the ocean to ease her worries, by proving to her that the ocean is a living being and is her friend, and will protect her on this journey. With the ocean, they will always be connected to each other, and it would be as if she never left. She says her final goodbye to her family, and we see all the villagers gathered to pay their respects. She boards a huge boat, and of course, she's not alone on this journey, as we see her crew member boarding the boat with her and her way more excited about the adventure, not having it in mind the dangers ahead of them. On their boat, The crew follows a shooting star to lead them towards Motu Fetu. However, the star seems to break apart before the crew sees what looks like an island. The crew are so excited about this, but they realize that it's not really an island but a pirate ship that belongs to the Kakamoras, a tribe of savage coconut-like pirates. Moana tries to get the crew away from the vicious little coconuts, but the Kakamora end up tranquilizing them and bringing them on board their ship. Both crews also end up coming close to a gigantic monstrous clam creature. The Kakamora have Moni translate their own drawings to reveal that they are not bad, but they have been separated from their own island after Motu Fetu disappeared, which severed their connection to their home. The Kakamora agree to join forces with Moana's crew if they help neutralize the giant clam, so they can return back to their land. Moana and her crew agrees to help them, but they cannot do this paralyzed. The Kakamoras brings out a strange slimy creature which helps them return back to normal. As one little Kakamora joins them, Moana and her crew tries to use a toxin from their giant blobfish creature, but they lose each of their spears tipped with the toxin and end up falling down into a cave. Maui is tied up in that cave, where he tries his best to convince some creatures to set him free, but it doesn't work out. The crew sees Maui tied up, but he asks them not to look at him, because he is so ashamed to show himself weak, but the crew instead just admires him because he's a legend. With their help, Maui was finally able to get hold of his hook and uses it to free himself. He tells them to be careful and they should be aware of a crazy lady that controls bats. Just as he was about leaving, he sees a chicken that belongs to one person he knows, and realizes that Moana came with the crew and is in danger. Moana wakes up in a separate area of the cave, where she had a nightmare of her little sister turning into a monster. Just as she wakes up, she meets with a woman called Matangi, who serves the demigod, Nalo. Moana is shocked that Matangi already knows about her mission, but Matangi tells her that she won't stop her, neither would she take her as a prisoner for Nalo, because she hates Nalo and she is just serving him because she was forced to do so. Matangi helps Moana find another way to escape, get lost, and helps her come across a portal for her and Maui to reunite with the other three. Matangi is unable to leave, but is confident Moana will defeat Nalo, but is also worried he will destroy her and her pet bat. Maui tells Moana that her and her crew are just going for a suicide mission. Nalo did not just hide Motu Fetu in a storm, he hid it in a monster storm, underneath the ocean, where immortal flesh cannot be able to go in. Anyway, just as they got so close to Motu Fetu, they arrive in an area covered with dark cloud. The place was inhospitable and the current was really strong. Moana tries to ask the ocean for help, but Maui responds, telling her that the ocean cannot help her here, because of Nalo's curse. The crew sees a light approaching them and a huge monster sent by Nalo comes out from it to attack them. Maui defeats it, but it turns out that's not the only sea monster sent by Nalo. More comes out from nowhere and things got more chaotic for them. Maui tries his best to protect the crew, but he couldn't defeat all the snake monsters by himself. The monster destroys their boat and one of the crew, Moni, ended up getting swallowed by the monster. Eventually, the sun appears and the monsters disappears inside the ocean. Moana is so sad thinking Moni is dead, but to her relief, Maui rescues Moni, but he appears to be really traumatized by everything that had just happened to him. They all stay at a very small island where Moana begins to doubt herself concerning completing the mission. Maui tries to cheer her up by turning into a shark, but she tells him she's not in the mood for jokes. Maui then sings a song telling her how strong and great she is. He lets her know that she has great potentials, but all she has to do is to believe in herself. Moana meets her crew and tries to apologize to them for failing them as their leader, but they reveal that they have created a more better boat for them to use to continue their journey. The crew enters the eye of Nalo's storm, which is what has kept humans from finding Motu Fetu. Maui cries to create a diversion to get Nalo to attack him, while the crew tries to get closer to the island. When he tries to pull Motu Fetu up with his hook, a blast of lightning hits him, stripping him of his godhood. Moni, Lodo, and Kelly pull him back onto the canoe while Moana swims underwater to touch the island, which would break the curse. Moana dives into the ocean and attempts to pull out Motu Fetu herself, but another lightning strike follows her, and it strikes her after she manages to touch Motu Fetu. The storm dissipates, but Moana does not resurface. Maui swims underwater to find that the hit killed her. He begins to weep and sing a tribal song for her. And the spirits of Moana's ancestors, including Tautai Vesa and Grandma Tala, arrive to revive her. A Wayfinder tattoo appears on Moana's arm, while Maui's godhood is restored. Maui uses his hook to pull Motu Fetu out of the ocean, beyond reprise, and after Moana blows into a conch shell, other tribes start to make their way toward the island. The Kakamora also reunite and find their own island again. The movie ends with Moana and her crew returning home, where Maui meets Simia, and she grabs his ear like Moana first did, before the two sisters reunite. Moana also shows her tribe that she brought the other tribes to meet them. With the other islands connected once again, we know the way. Moana and her crew set sail on another adventure. They teach the other tribes their way of life, like how to read, how to make objects, and how to communicate with each other. During the credits, Nalo appears in his human form to confront Matangi over her helping Moana. He still intends to keep her prisoner and exact his revenge against the humans. They are joined by Tamatoa, Jermaine Clement, who also wants to join in getting revenge against Moana, but Nalo hits him with lightning instead. And that was how the movie ended. Thank you for watching, guys. If you love animation movies, please subscribe to this channel and keep watching. Bye.